But,
you already know how that's gonna go down. That boy's gonna get his spine pulled out of his body, and I'm talking about Thor. You already know Kratos don't play that. It's gonna be a gruesome death.
My nigga,
you don't know how it's gonna be gruesome.
Kratos already killed a god of thunder. He killed Zeus, his own daddy.
That's true.
We must pay homage to him.
Yeah, man. I don't know if y'all niggas played the original. Well, not the original, but the previous version of God of War, the latest version of God of War that came out, and how hard that game went. So they recently released a trailer for the newest version, God of War Ragnarok, that's getting ready to come out. And they basically at the end of the previous version, they kind of started to build hype around Thor, because at the very end of the game, after you complete everything that the game has to offer, they show, they show Kratos and Atreus. They at the crib or whatever, and they start to hear some shit outside. They open the door, they see, somebody standing outside the door, and they see that hammer with the electricity going around it. Niggas like, ooh, ooh. So they definitely knew how to give you a very good cliffhanger to get you hyped for that next game, because you're like, you finally finna get Thor, because I'm pretty sure that's what niggas really mainly wanted to see, the versus between Kratos and Thor. Low key, they could probably make a versus video on that while we talking, but you
already know how that's gonna go down. That boy's gonna get his spine pulled out of his body, and I'm talking about Thor. You already know Kratos don't play that. It's gonna be a gruesome death.
My nigga,
you don't know how it's gonna be gruesome.
Kratos already killed a god of thunder. He killed Zeus, his own daddy.
That's true.
So
that's true. That's why, and I'm sure he's gonna make some jokes that echo to that fact as well in the battle of like, oh, you're not the only thunder nigga I fought before, bro. You're the only one.
He said, oh, re-rhyme. Let's do this. But there's a lot of controversy though. Let's get into this about the way that they actually released how Thor looks in this latest game that's about to come out. So I think everybody has essentially fallen in love with the image of Thor that you get from the Marvel movies. I can't remember the name of the actor, but everybody likes
Chris Hemsworth.
Chris Hemsworth. Everybody likes the whole Chris Hemsworth, handsome guy with the nice fit body, except for when he was in Endgame when he had the nice little gut or whatever, and everybody fell in love with it. But when they showed us the very, I guess you could say, overweight version of Thor, which I feel, would probably be more realistic to the lifestyle of people who, well, the look of people who lived that lifestyle that they would have
in Valhalla.
I can only assume. I'm like, okay, that's not an image that anybody expected. That's definitely a lot of shell shock when people first saw this video. First saw this picture. But I'm pretty sure a number of people were like, I like that, because this actually gets, this seems a lot more realistic. And so now you have a huge, fight between the people that want Chris Hemsworth and people that want more realism.
Yeah. I feel like what I would add to that too, like you said, for me, the way I looked at it at first, and then this is the stuff that came to my mind as you were speaking. First, I looked at it as like, okay, the way I understand Valhalla or how it worked from various TV shows, I'm not a Norse mythology buff by any means, so this could be corrected, was that it's heaven for the warrior, meaning that like as a warrior you fight all day, your injuries get healed at the end, and you basically party and fuck and then do the same shit tomorrow. Like that's your eternity. So the way I understand that is the god of that party is Thor, right? And this nigga is drinking and fucking all day and then going out and just fighting motherfuckers. So I totally see why he would be an overweight Viking, because I think what people don't understand about like swole people is like the way, muscle building people are put today is like the reason why you see all those, biceps and all these like toned, defined muscles. It's usually because they're like competing, right? They're showcasing all of the muscles they've built. But when you build like functional muscle, where it's just like I'm building muscle like as a warrior, or I'm building muscle as like a combatant, your body looks totally different because you're not worried about fucking 6-pack abs. Your goal is like, does it work, and do I have enough energy to use those muscles?
Fact.
Which means you carry a decent amount of fat because you're gonna draw from that on days where, hey nigga, I can't eat today because I just been out here fucking battling for like 20 hours.
Facts,
So to me, I thought it was an accurate depiction of what I would think Thor would look like. I actually like it, and I feel like it fits the whole vibe of
Vikings.
the God of War franchise. Anyways, to me, I wouldn't want no pretty blonde dude like pulling up and doing that. I like this like,
Exactly.
oh bro, I'm just, and he wields a hammer. Like I don't see it like a sexy dude wielding a hammer. I see like this buff burly nigga who's like, I beat your head in with a hammer. Like
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't understand where I didn't understand where the expectation was coming from there with that. And then to add on to a side note from the thing, I've also heard some controversy about the giant lady that was revealed because she's like a person of color. Like there's this woman that showcases who I think is supposed to be like the mother of the giants or some shit.
Oh, I don't remember that.
People kind of got mad at that. Yeah, because she's black. And I was just like, okay,
Damn.
whatever. But the other note I did hear as well is that apparently this is the last in the franchise. In the
God of War.
yeah, I heard it from I believe Game Ranks, but shout out to them. But this is the last in the God of War Norse franchise.
Yeah, not the
which
whole
means
franchise.
hopefully we're going to we're going to a new set of gods in the next game. But because the I guess director was like, because it takes like 5 years to create a bunch of these games, we'd have to wait like 15 years basically to complete the story if they made like a third game to this. So I'm kind of happy that they're going to wrap up the story in the next game, because like once I saw what they did with this new God of War, I was like, I hope they do this with all of like the mythological gods. So I'm excited just to see the next realm Kratos is going to go to and fuck up. My hope is that it's Egyptian gods next, but we never know. You know what I'm saying? But like to me, that's the other big. Like if you're talking Greek, Roman gods are pretty much the same as Greek gods. They almost feel like a direct copy to me.
Yep.
So I don't know why you would go back to that world, but they might. Norse is another big one, and then to me, Egyptian gods would be the next thing I think people think of. So my hope, and what they were kind of saying about the black giant showing up, was that she might be a connector piece to that world. So that's what I'm hoping they go down, because I would love to see Anubis, Ra, like how they create those interpretations, and Kratos beating the fuck out of him. Like that's all he's gonna do. So I think that shit is gonna be dope. But yeah, that's my 2 cents.
So basically, my biggest understanding of of any type of mythology all comes from Assassin's Creed. That's literally where I get all of my research from, because I basically play every one, and so they went through the whole the Egyptian gods and everything, niggas with the alligator heads and all of that, and I'm like, yo, this looks dope. So if we can get a version where we actually have Kratos going out there and beating their asses or whatever, I can actually see that being the next one. And I'm just wondering, like, how many mythologies do you actually have that that have enough people or gods within it, so that Kratos can actually run across it or whatever.
Not to call it a mythos, but
or at least there's multiple different kind of Asian mythologies there too. So
that is another world that's expansive, because you got to think of the deities. So the thing is, like, I hate using the word mythology, because I do agree to some degrees that like you can qualify religion as mythology in certain ways. So I feel like you could play in those next. So it's like Egyptians. But like Jugga said, like there's the Asian deities. Like if you talk about Hindu gods, there's a ton of them, and that could be its own. Yeah, like there's Ganesh, there's Shiva, there's a whole bunch of other stuff like God of Destruction, God of whatever. Hey. So I think that shit would be dope to go into.
Hey, they ain't put it in Assassin's Creed yet, so I don't know these people.
Oh damn! And then they have like I'm sure the Chinese culture has their own deities, which I'm not as familiar with. But obviously, if you are in anime space, you know a lot of the Japanese deities, even though you don't know them. But like Amaterasu is one. Like they talk about a bunch of different ones. So right, you got Nine-Tailed Fox coming out. So there's a lot of shit they can go with if they go 100%. Asia as well, which could be the next one, because like from a map standpoint, he could be hitting that before he hits Africa, if you think about it that way. Like Valhalla is like now they're in Europe. if you thought about Greek or before. But maybe I'd argue that if he was in Greece before, it would have made more sense to hit the Asian deities next. But who the fuck knows? But it could go anywhere. He moved north, and now I guess he's coming back south to one of these different areas, is my hope. So,
yeah,
we'll see. Just tossing out some comments. Mike also said, far more accurate for him to be fat bearded, redhead Viking, sword swinging arms, and got a gut full of mead.
Yeah.
It'll probably be in Egyptian mythology next, and then get some more black representation in the franchise. I mean, people have been talking about this whole Kratos is black thing a little bit more as of late, too.
Really?
So that's kind of why I think that they might go Egypt next if they want to play off that storyline of like, oh, you know, technically, from what they say, from the stuff from the original games, like, Kratos, before all the shit happened, was more of a dark-skinned dude. If you look at his daughter, I think she also seemed like she might have been mixed or black. So they could go Egyptian gods next and try to, like, explain some shit with that. But I don't know. But like I said, and Mike just said, no matter where he goes, it'll be wild. And that's exactly how I feel. Like, no matter what it is, I'm just excited to see Kratos go into a mythological world and kill mythological gods. I just think that shit is dope.
I just want to see that nigga riding into the battlefield, riding in nine tails with a big ass sword in his hand.
No.
Do you think he's gonna keep? Do you think he'll keep Atreus past this thing, or you think it'll be kind of done with that storyline at the end of this game?
So my thing is, I would hope, especially since the nigga's name is actually LAKEY, I would hope that he actually remains within that world, I guess you can call it.
Same.
And so I would actually be interested to see him have a kid in each of these different worlds or whatever, to see how those kids, you know, develop as a new god.
Oh.
I also feel like the Atreus storyline, from what I gather, I didn't finish the first God of War of the remake, but from what I gather, it seems like a coming of age story. So I feel like Ragnarok could be the like culmination of that. Like, look, dude, you're good. You don't need me anymore now. You run this shit. I'm out to kill some other motherfuckers.
Exactly.
So I'm excited to see that. But either way, yeah, I'm hyped for it. Definitely gonna get it, and I probably won't finish the first one before I get it, but I don't care. I just like to kill gods.
To kill gods.
It's fun.